Welcome to another championship preview. In this one, we're going to look at the games that are taking place on Saturday, starting with Huddersfield against Rotherham. So 21st against 20th. Is it too early to call this a six-pointer? Well, a couple of weeks ago you might have called it that, but both of these teams went into the international break with a victory. Impressive victories as well. Rotherham beating Norwich and Huddersfield beating West Brom away from home, both 2-1 scorelines. Incidentally, BTTS has landed in every game played for Rotherham this season, and in fact, over 2.5 goals has also landed in every game played. On to the next one, and Blackburn 13th hosting Middlesbrough. Are you ready for this? 24th. It's been a tricky start for both of these teams, a bit inconsistent. Blackburn started with a win and then a draw, and then they lost, and then they won, and then they lost, so not really finding any form as of yet. They went into the international break after a 3-0 defeat at Plymouth Argyle. And for Middlesbrough, they've picked up a single point, and that was at home to Huddersfield Town. They are conceding plenty of goals, and they're not scoring enough. 0.6 per game, I believe it is. Yes, they've scored just 3 goals in total, conceded 2.2 per game. Now, this is a tricky one to call because Middlesbrough, they are going to start picking up points. They're not going to get relegated. They've got a good manager who is still finding his way. He's had a transitional summer in terms of the players that have left the club. So give him time. I don't think they're going to go down, but that just means they're going to start picking up points at some point. So they will get a result, and it might be a surprise for Middlesbrough, but it is coming. They will take off and start climbing up that table at some point. Bristol City hosting West Brom, 8th against 11th. And West Brom have had some pretty fun games, actually, to be fair. 2-1, 3-2, 1-1, 4-2 and 1-2. So inconsistent-ish. They put a good run together, but then they went and lost at home to Huddersfield. So this is the Championship, isn't it? Anything can happen. But they are another team where BTTS has landed in every single game they've played so far. Norwich climbing the table, or they were until the latest game. They were unbeaten, scoring over 2 or more goals in every game, I should say, before they went to Rotherham and lost. Again, what would you have thought if you were just looking at those 4 games there in isolation? Surely they're going to go and get something against Rotherham, but again, this is the Championship. If we look at Stoke's form, they're struggling for goals. They've fired blanks in 3 of their opening 5 games. Not the easiest start for them, to be fair. Away at Millwall, Preston have started well, and then they were away at Ipswich on the second game, so that might have been Ipswich's first home game, so a very tough place to go. But you would expect Norwich to get the job done here. And I mentioned Preston, and it pains me as a Blackpool fan, but they are unbeaten so far, as we can see here. They've won 80% of games, 2.6 points per game. And the thing about Preston, they started last season very well as well, so will they still be top of the table in a month or two? Who knows? I think at the start of last season, they didn't concede in 7 games or something stupid. They've scored in every game this time. Maybe that's the difference. And you can see their results here. They're doing well. They are doing well. And Plymouth will be a tough game for them. But I think Plymouth are going to pick up most of their points at home this season. Away from home, a draw and a defeat. But at home, Plymouth last year, they were one of the best teams in the EFL, score for fun at home, but I think Preston might get this one done, maybe 1 or 2-0 victory. QPR hosting Sunderland. Both of these teams have won just 2 of the 5 games, but Sunderland are 9th and QPR are 17th, and that is why no draws for QPR, but I imagine Sunderland a single draw. So it's very tight, isn't it, in the Championship? 5-0 victory before the international break for Sunderland against Southampton. And they've lost Stewart, haven't they, to Southampton. That was a very crazy game, that one. And you can see a 0-0 there away at Coventry, not a bad result. I think this is a decent start for Sunderland, to be honest. They'll be looking to push for those playoff places again. They're 9th at the minute. And this is a tough place to go because of the pressure that Ainsworth is under. But like a lot of these teams that we've looked at, they got to win before the international break. So I'll be looking to continue that because I think Ainsworth, with the way he sets his team up and the way the QPR fans want to play, he's only going to be a couple of results away from being under serious pressure. Speaking of pressure, let's take a look at Sheffield Wednesday. They are winless so far, just a single point. So they are down there with Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough, and these are the results. So the only point came at Leeds, so you could say that's an improvement, but that is a tough start. Southampton, Hull, Preston, Cardiff away, and Leeds. There's a lot of teams in the Championship. A lot of these teams in this list, they're on the up. Hull look very good under Liam Rosenior. Cardiff, they've made some very good signings. Josh Bowler, of course. And Preston, again, it pains me to say it, but they are improving season on season. And then a point away at Leeds is not the worst result, but this is a massive game. A massive game for Sheffield Wednesday against Ipswich Town, who have started superbly well. I looked at the odds for the playoff spots before the season began, and Ipswich were actually right up there. I mean, the bookies were right in doing that because they've started sensationally well. What a start to life. They're scoring plenty of goals, but this is a massive game for Sheffield Wednesday. Should be some atmosphere there, and like most Championship games, it's very, very tough to call. If we look at the head-to-head to see what happened last season between these two teams, we can see a couple of 2-2 results. So both games ended 2-2, so maybe we'll see something similar, because as you can see, Ipswich, they are scoring goals for fun, and they did last year as well. In fact, all three teams that came up from League One were pretty good in terms of goals scored. Definitely in terms of replacing the teams that came down from the Championship. You think of like Blackpool, Wigan, Reading, those teams did not score half as many goals as the teams that came up. Watford are 18th, so how long do you give the manager? How long are you giving the manager? A couple of weeks? They're not scoring goals, are they? They scored 3 at Coventry, but that was after firing blanks for 3 games. So was the Coventry game the anomaly, or have they sorted something out? This is why you need to see another game. But Birmingham City, tell you what, they've made some good signings as well. That is a good run. They look very solid. What I like about this is that they're not conceding more than 1 goal in any of the games, and that is a tough thing to do. If we look at the head-to-head from last season, 3-0 victory for Watford. Irrelevant, really, because, as I said before, some of these Championship teams, they are much improved. And one of these teams, we'll go to the next game, is Cardiff City. This is obviously a rivalry, and both of these teams down there at the minute. If we look at the results, Cardiff are scoring BTTS in every game again. What is there, 3 or 4 teams that have seen that so far in the Championship? Add another one to the mix there, Swansea. 5 out of 5 and 5 out of 5. So will we see that? Will it be a tighter game because of everything that's on the line? 19th against 22nd. For Swansea, it's not good, is it? No clean sheets. No clean sheets for either of these teams. Of course, if BTTS has landed, you can't have a clean sheet, can you? So what do you think about these Championship games? Who is your pick? If you had to pick 2 teams to win, you had to pick 2, only 2, who would you pick? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching.